Hey everyone, welcome to Oh God, what are you watching? My name is Matthew Lang. My pronouns are they, them. This is my first episode, and I have my best friend, Jessica, and they will be able to introduce themselves. So go for it.
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Jessica Ray, she, her. Happy to be here on the show.
Okay, where are you from? Where are you? What's going on?
I'm from New Jersey.
Okay, great.
And I'm in Brooklyn right now.
I miss it. I
Yeah.
used to live there. We used to be neighbors, and now we're not. I'm in Marietta, Georgia, which is a place. But today we have gotten together to talk about two movies: Magnolia by Paul Thomas Anderson and The Woman Who Ran by Sang-soo. So we're gonna just kind of first chat about a few things. What are some of your favorite movies, if you had to pick a few or something? I know you have plenty, and this is ridiculous because we know each other way too well. So I know everything you're going to say, but this is for everyone to know. Yes, what are some of your favorite movies?
Definitely Melancholia. It's brilliant. I really like Death Proof. Magnolia.
Oh, yeah. Well, the perfect choice then.
Eternal Sunshine, like all of us, our favorite movie.
Everyone, collectively. Yeah.
Collectively. As a people, I think.
Yes. That is the movie.
The movie.
Are there any directors that you specifically love?
Yorgos Lanthimos, Lars von Trier.
They all know he's a fucking dick. Yes.
Yeah. I like his movie. I can't even say he's my favorite director. His movies are my favorite movies. I'm gonna say that.
Yeah. There you go.
And who else? I love Paul Thomas Anderson, except for a few.
So is Magnolia probably your favorite of his, or are there some others that might be competing?
No, that's my favorite of his. It's so perfect. Every scene is like exactly how I want it to be.
Yes. That's great.
We'll talk about that later.
Yes. Well, let's actually talk about it now then. Okay, so if you let's see, what is I guess explain what the plot would be if you could like generalize it in a way. What happens?
What happens?
Also real quick, spoilers in case anybody doesn't want to know what happens. Which you should have already seen this, but anyways. But go on. Now tell us a general idea.
Magnolia? How could I ever? This is a trick question.
Okay, so just if someone's like, "Oh, what is that? What is that about?" Like, "Oh God, what are you watching?"
Okay, there's 10 people. It's Think Love Actually.
It's 10?
No, I don't think
now I'm like wanting to count. There's like 10 or 40. I don't know. Yeah. Okay.
I've only seen this once.
Oh my God. I just read it on Wikipedia, so I'm ready.
There's like 8 though. There's like 7.
I like have the Blu-ray and I'm just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then there's like little side characters that are around the entire time. So it's like, but there are like main focuses, which are usually the celebrities. Because it's a very like heavy actor vehicle. So but I guess if I were like to say something, it would be just a bunch of people and how their lives connect and how there are possibly there's like a divine intervention of sorts, and how everything is meant to be and in its place, which I guess comes in a little bit later once you start realizing how everybody's connected. And then the final scene, the big one that everyone's always like, what the fuck? Who like, if your favorite performance, who's the one that sticks out, or are there like several that you feel like everyone across the board? The cast.
Literally everyone though. I mean, I hate to say this, but my favorite really is Tom Cruise. Please don't use that out of context.
That's gonna be the title of the thing.
My favorite really is Tom Cruise.
He's really fucking good at it.
He's so good in this. And honestly, like I cry the whole movie, but his stuff, I'm literally just like sobbing uncontrollably. Like,
so when was the first time you saw it? Do you know like what age you were, like where you were in life when you watched it?
Well, now everyone's gonna do the math and know my age because I said 2011.
Oh my God. No.
I was like 21 or something.
Oh, so you watched it like right out of school. We went to school together, everyone.
We went to school together. Yeah. Yeah, because actually maybe before that, because I remember when I think we talked about it. I don't know, maybe not. But anyway,
Yeah.
it was like 10 years ago or so. You definitely get more out of it the more you watch it. It's a long one, and I'm not sometimes my focus is the worst. So I'm always like, that's really long right now. But then when I started, I'm immediately fine.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
it's fast paced. The pacing is surprisingly quick, and I feel like a lot of that personally after watching it a few times, and especially like focusing this time just directly on the movie. I also smoked beforehand because I was like, I haven't done this with this movie before, so I'll try that and see if I either have a terrible experience or which has happened before, where I've like smoked and be like, do I hate this movie now? No. And it's like happened because I like end up picking it apart too much, and then I'm like, oh fuck, I can't do that again. But this one, and you know, as like the years go by, and you do pick up new things from it, because I feel like that also has to deal with you know, where you are in your life, what new things you've picked up along the way, and I think your perspective can change, and does change like over the years. So revisiting it, you're always going to have, you know, you'll remember things that you felt before, but I feel like going in with those feelings, you're going to focus on even more new things. And I think that's kind of fun to go back to this, because also when you were like, oh, let's do Magnolia, I was like, fuck, it's 3 hours. Okay. All right, I'll do it again. Every time I watch it, I have a good time. And then I was like, okay, here we go. And I was watching it with my stepdad, who does not watch like watch a lot of like dramas. He's more into like action and stuff like that. And I was like, if you want to watch it with me, I'm gonna watch it. So he was like, okay. And the whole time I thought he was hating it, because he was just like staring. And then like I saw a bunch of yawns, and I was like, oh God. And it turns out he told my mom that he loved it. And I was like, okay, great. Because at the very end, he was like, that was different, which I usually kind of feel like I hated it.
Yeah.
But he loved it. And yeah, there's certain performances that I kind of latched onto more this time. You can explain the Tom Cruise character a bit.
Well, I mean, I think it's just he's so gross. And they do a great job. It's terrible. They do a great job. Now I would watch it. When I first watched it, I was like horrified at this character. Now I watch it and I like cackle, because I'm just like, he's so good, you know, like I'm just like enjoying the performance. So the first time I watched it, I was literally like, this is terrifying. And also knowing that these kind of like conventions, these kinds of like lessons,
they exist. Yeah,
they exist. So like, you're just like, Jesus Christ. And all of them like, no, and what are they? Yeah, and like horrifying. But he does a great job of, like, I love when he comes back after the break, and the break he's had like traumatizing time. He's flipping the table. He's just
that's right. Is that right after the interview, or
it's right after the interview? And
the interview is one of my favorite.
I want to play her part so bad. I always like, let's remake this. Like, it's not a movie that needs to be remade, but like let me read it.
God, you can just do that for your reel or something. Let's reenact it. Oh, that's what we should have done for the whole thing. We should have done the entire scene.
Well, I don't see why we can't. We both know the line.
We can tack it on at the end. Awful. No. Oh, okay. So wait, first, let me explain just a little bit more about this so people get what the whole thing is, I guess. But it's about this game show that's kind of like Jeopardy, for where kids are going against the adults, and it's like, who knows more, or I guess like, are you smarter than a fifth grader kind of. But these kids are geniuses, or at least the three that are up there. The main focus is this one kid who is fucking brilliant. He studies all the time. His dad forces him into this shit, and basically, you know, uses his talent and his brains to further his own success, which is something that happens to a lot of young kids, and like they get taken advantage of by their parents, which is kind of the whole movie. Each person is fucked over by their parents, and there's a person you find out who was quite possibly molested when she was younger. There's a character, Tom Cruise, whose mom died of cancer, and his father just abandoned both of them while he had to deal with the death of his mom. And Tom Cruise ends up getting a call from his father, who is dying of cancer, who he hasn't spoken to in years. So he ends up kind of going up to him, and it kind of shows exactly why Tom Cruise has become this total piece of shit. And also like just having no real father figure, and also kind of falling into the footsteps of this asshole who he hated so much and kind of became. And then, you know, William H. Macy plays someone who's been on the show before, and I love his character. Also, just having a gay character in the film at all was just, I was like, yay. So and you know, he was on it as a kid and on the show as a kid, and now it's him older dealing with like the repercussions of like his family taking advantage of him, taking all his like prize money and all this shit, and he's fucked up over it. He has like terrible self-image, terrible just feelings about himself in general. Are there any other characters you want to pinpoint? There's a bunch.
Also I was going to say about Tom Cruise, I also love that he seems like he's going to be one note, and then they give him the most to do.
So much.
Also Linda, I would die for her. The wife.
Linda. Wait, Tom Cruise? Wait, who?
Linda is.
I don't remember character names ever.
I don't remember the guy who I'm trying to explain. The husband is the one who's dying.
Julianne Moore?
Yes, Julianne Moore.
Oh, yes.
I love her.
I have a question about her. Okay, so I don't know if it was just because I was high and like getting out of focus at times, but okay, you know when she goes into the pharmacy and has her like, you don't know me, and like freaks out at the person. Is she taking medication, or is this mostly just or is she abusing like meds, or is she just having this huge emotional breakdown because these people are, you know, assuming she's taking all these drugs? Like, is it just a buildup of emotions, or is it plus she's like kind of strung out? Because I can't tell if she's been using his medication or if she's just like so flipped out over this
I think
she's having, because she's been holding in that she. Okay. I
always took it as she's been taking his drugs off.
Yeah. Because she even walks into like the lawyer's office basically, and he's like, what the fuck's wrong with you? And I'm like, okay, is she fucked up on like taking some of the meds, or is she genuinely finally coming to terms with her, you know, how she said that she has not been in love with this man at all in his entire life, and she's with him for his money, which is the dying guy who is Tom Cruise's dad, and he's the one who like was a producer of, or a showrunner of the kids like quiz show. So all these people are connected in different ways and stuff, but for them being the focus, he's the person who was like in charge of this whole thing, and she's the wife who's been with him for a while and cheated on him, wanted him basically to die so she could take all his money. And then she's finally coming to the terms where she's like, I actually love this man. I've spent so much time with him. And it's like, it's a weird thing, because you're like, is it kind of that thing where like that Stockholm syndrome thing where she's like been stuck in this situation so long, that's all she knows, and has grown to love the situation she's been in? Or is this just a thing where she's actually genuinely fallen in love with this person, and, you know, seeing them in this like state of decay basically has like kind of brought all of her emotions together, and then poof, you see her kind of explode. So I think it's an interesting character to follow.
I really like her.
And then, you know, at the end she takes the pills, or takes the meds, and tries to kill herself because she doesn't feel good about what she's done. And, you know, but with the miracle that kind of happens at the end, you see her get saved by the little boy who is involved in the murder in the beginning, who is like around it, and meets up with John C. Reilly, who's like this fumbly bumbly idiot cop, and he ends up like finding her OD'd in the car, and is like, hey, I'm gonna, like, he calls the police, but also like takes her money and stuff. And so, but it's great because he's, you know, he gets something for, you know, whatever. I was like, take her money, fuck it. She's not using she's dead, you might as well rob her ass. So but then like you see the ambulance at the end when all the frogs fall from the sky, and it lands right in front of the hospital. So you're like, oh, so I guess she's gonna live thanks to the miracle of these frogs falling from the sky. It could be something on a biblical level, or something that has actually happened before. where frogs have just been fallen from the sky, and it's because of like some thing with like me. I don't know science.
Yeah, I was go ahead and do that.
Yeah, I don't. I literally cheated in science when I was in high school. Are you gonna take my diploma away? So I couldn't tell you, but I was like, I get the basic idea. You know, water goes up and then it comes down. So science. So I have no idea what I'm talking about. And so then frogs fell, but this is like an insane amount of frogs where they're not like little ones. They're like fucking huge toads that are like boof, and like they literally kill a man for falling on him, because the guy who molested his daughter, who is the host of the kids show, like the quiz show, he's like at the end about to kill himself, and then a frog just lands on him and kills him.
Dead?
Mm-hmm. I don't think remember at the beginning they do that, like, and at the end where they kind of bookend it with the different weird things where people get like are trying to kill themselves in ways, but then end up doing it another way.
Wow.
Huh? Yeah, kind of fun. Isn't death fun?
You gotta watch the show. You learn. I know. Yeah. I never realized that.
Yeah, well, that I don't think I had either until this time. There was a few things where I was like, oh, like, but I also this time around, I also had like a feeling, because I've watched so many like other films at this point, because the music involved, it definitely keeps the pace going, almost like Requiem for a Dream, where like, you know, the music is a huge part of the film, and it very much like amplifies the situation and the emotions of the scene, where which Paul Thomas Anderson does this in a lot of his films, which I think, you know, from like Punch Drunk Love, where you know, where he's like kind of having his like crazy little breakdown, you hear like dum 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 dum, and the music's just like heightened, even though like the situation is like probably not that stressful for people, but the music is like, this sucks so bad, like, yeah. So it kind of does this too with especially when the cop meets up with the girl who was molested by her dad, and she's now a big like coke fiend, and which I have to say something about her. Love her performance, but I know this cop is a full-blown idiot, but when he answers the door and she's like, hi, like, yeah. I'm like,
also when
clearly on drugs.
When he asks her out, she's like, how about tonight? And he's like, yeah, I can do tonight. How about 8 o'clock? I work until 10 o'clock. Like,
yeah.
No
listen
way.
And take the music out of that situation and it's fucking absurd. Yeah. But the music brings it to this point where it's like, where it's at that level, so you're like, you understand like her feelings and stuff. But for him, he's been a cop long enough to notice things, even though they do show like immediately kind of that he's a big old dummy. Sure. But he knows that. He even asks like, are you on something? She's like, no. The whole time, like
in the bathroom at the restaurant, she's literally like, I like screaming, like, yeah. I get being like, you're so cute, that's all I see, but also like,
yeah, it's a thing where it's like he was probably blinded by it, but also I even more so now, because, you know, the world has opened up to me in different ways, especially for the past like 2 years and everything that's going on with police, where I was like, how fucking dare you hit on this woman that you're coming in there to like complain at, like, professionalism. And like, I know he's a big fumbling idiot, but back the fuck off. Like, I also, but you can see from her how she's not so trusting of people. She's been fucked over so much that it's like she's kind of put off by this person who's actually treating her in a way that she hasn't probably been treated in a long time, where he's like wants to get to know her and wants to hear what she has to say, and she's like doing drugs to kind of like make the time go by and stuff, in a way of like, okay, well, I don't want to deal with this, so what are you doing? And then he's just like, okay, well, how are you? And she's like the whole time.
That's literally her the entire time. Mm-hmm. I go back and forth. I always think it's way too much, but I love it. But it does feel like no one would be talking to you and be like, this is her personality.
Yeah, I've never run into a person like that and been like, oh, they're fine.
Yeah.
This is just who they are. No.
This is one day. It's like 24 hours because the first scene she goes home with that guy and then she wakes up with him. And then it's the date is at the night. So it's literally 24 hours and we see her do so much cocaine. And so it's like, yes, maybe that would literally be her, but everyone around her would be, like, how much cocaine are you today, man?
You're on coke.
Are
you snorting coke? The little boy who's the genius of the quiz show, he is great. I think he's fantastic. And even the two little shit-nosed kids that are also on the thing too, they're great when they have their little blow up against the adults at the end. And let's talk about the best part of the movie, the song that everyone shares.
Yeah, I cry so hard at that. It's so stupid. I love it.
It's so great.
Me and my roommate were kind of talking about how if it would have been in a lesser film, it would be so bad. It would be like, what is happening right now? But it's in the most brilliant film ever, so it's perfect. It's so
it comes to a point where it makes sense. Like it's not just like shoehorned in there. It like it could come off as cheesy, and I can see people like seeing it as that. But for me, like with the music throughout the entire film, and it's a lot of like Amy Mann's music, and then they have the song, and they're all at a point where they're like about to face something that they have been avoiding for so much time, like the past that they've been running away from for so long. Like each character has come to this point of like, oh fuck. And it's just super upsetting because you can kind of see them deciding if they're going to make this effort or if they're going to turn away from it. And the kid at the end is just like, it's not going to stop, so just give up. It sucks because the little boy at the end goes to his dad and he's like, you need to be nicer to me. And the dad's still like, go to sleep. Go to sleep. And it's just like, which I feel bad. Like I feel like he's come to like terms by the end of like that. He's like, this is kind of how it is. And I need to kind of do this for me and not him. And I'm really hoping their relationship gets better. But I don't know if it will, because his dad's just a prick. But it is cool at the end when the frogs happen, which I'm not a religious person, so I was like, okay, I don't really know what this is, but frogs are falling, cool. And it's like super funny because like you have Philip Seymour Hoffman, who's like playing this very like big-hearted nurse who's taking care of the Tom Cruise's dad who's dying, and he's like trying to connect the two of them together and stuff like that. And at the very end, he's just like, why are there frogs falling from this guy? Flips out, and he's just always great. I miss him so fucking much, and I just love that he's in a lot of Paul Thomas Anderson's films as well, and is just always wonderful. But the frogs at the end, what was your like reaction to that when you first saw that?
I think I just went, what? Like, I think I was very shocked. I remember reading, the thing is I didn't read a lot about it this time because now I'm just like, oh, I know. But I remember the first time getting on my phone and being like, what? Like, what does it mean?
Is this based on a true story? Yeah.
Yeah, it was literally just like I knew it was biblical, but I was also like, I think this has happened. And the little boy tells me he said it happened. So but I remember looking it up and being kind of like, why? Yeah, I don't know.
And I
love the whole thing. I think it's so perfectly just literally like these are all the characters, and it's just so perfectly like
and it's interesting because when I first watched it, like, of course, I don't know a lot about the Bible. I know like enough to get through with some of like certain like religious directors and their kind of imagery and stuff like that. And I had seen like Andrei Tarkovsky's movies, who is like my favorite director, and he's a religious like director, and he infuses it in his films in like rather subtle ways, even though I think like you could pick out some big bold things that he's saying that are usually connected with God, even if it's not like directly so. It's still like, oh, you know what this kind of like stalker has to deal with, like faith and stuff like that. And with this, it's pretty much like on the nose, and it's something I picked out a lot more now that I've like seen a bunch of other films where I'm like, oh, the religious like imagery and ideas have popped out a lot more for me to where it feels more heavy-handed. But I think the movie is so like operatic in a way that everything is heightened, that even like you kind of need those big like that like slaps across the face where it's just like Jesus and God. Like, well, I guess the frogs in general, like in the Bible, have to do with like it's Exodus 2:8 or 1:8. I don't fucking know. I looked at it earlier. And
the audience of the game show.
Wait, sorry, what's that?
In the audience of the game show.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, from what I've heard, like from what I like read about, it pops up like a few times throughout the film. Yeah. I just don't really know what to look for because what's the Bible? And then you find out, because if you follow like the story and like what that comes from, like in the Bible, where it's like Jesus or God, one of the two, aren't they the same? I don't understand. It like he like casts these like frogs upon these people that to let like the Israelites go or something. It's like, if you don't let them go, I'm gonna rain these frogs on you for which you need to like forgive them or some shit like that. And it's like I'm doing a terrible job of explaining it, but in Magnolia, it's all these people coming to like a point at the end where they've gotten to this point where they can finally forgive and let go of the past, but also realize what they've done and like take up for what they've been involved in and face it full on. And they've all come to that point which they've been avoiding for so long, and like because of that is when like the biblical kind of thing falls in, where they finally come to this point where it makes sense. Like you hit this huge heightened moment and then the sky opens up with frogs, and it's such a beautiful fucking moment watching all these people come together and that have not really don't seem like they would tie in, but somehow they all do, and it all happens perfectly. Like the gay guy who is William H. Macy, he's like wanting to get braces the whole time to like impress this bartender, and then he breaks his fucking teeth at the end, so he's gonna have to get it anyways. And Julianne Moore, her ambulance ends up at the fucking like crashes at the hospital. Tom Cruise gets to see his dad wakes up from the sound of the frogs hitting to have that one last moment with his son. And John C. Reilly's gun falls from the fucking sky along with the fucking stuff, like everything. And the woman who's like addicted to coke, she's ends up reuniting with her mother after her mother finds out what happened, and she leaves her husband and is like, fuck you, I finally know what you fucking did. And then yeah, it's just all these things coming to a conclusion, and I just think it's so exciting.
So good. It does a great job of being like when I'm watching a character, I don't think about anyone else. Like when the scene cuts, I'm like, no, wait, what's gonna happen? And then it's the next scene, and I literally don't think about that because I'm like, oh, this is happening. Like
equally so hard to equally into each part.
Exactly. Yeah. Like you have so many main characters, and I care about every single one of them. He wanted to shave off 20 minutes? Where?
Yeah, I had like just read it where he had said something like, it was more recent, where he was just like, I wish I would have told younger me to shave off 20 minutes. And I'm like, no need. I was like, it's your film's fine. The problem would be with the audience if they can't hang on. So,
honestly, I've watched it with people, and I can see their eyes glaze over just from the very beginning, the like first 15 minutes of like, hey, we're setting this up, blah blah blah, and I'm like, can you not like? And I know that later, later it's easier to get involved because it's like actual like characters that you feel about, like feel and connected to and everything like that. But like I love the first 15 minutes. I'm always like, what? Yeah. Like I think it's great storytelling, and I love the narrator's voice. It's just like very fun and
yeah. Well, that's what happened. Like, because I started it, and because I was sitting with my stepdad watching it, and I think this happens anytime you like watch a movie with someone where you're like, you want to know like how they're approaching the scene. Like, are they like into this already, or is this gonna completely turn them off? And I was like, oh no. I was like, because I also start second guessing where I'm like, oh God, this part's taking too long. They're probably really bored.
I do
I'm like,
that.
no, I don't. So I was just like,
this is hands down the greatest movie that you will ever see. And they're like, okay. And then right before we started, I'm like, it's okay. It's not like, it's not like really.
I wasn't thinking of this one. Oh, sorry.
I just like throw it in the dirt right before just so that they don't get their hopes up.
Yeah.
But like when I convince them to watch it, I'm literally like, there's no better film than this, you know?
Well, I've done that with you where I was like, with even like The Woman Who Ran, where I was like, okay, when you approach this, just know that there's like no action. It's mostly just people coming together and talking. So know that before getting into it. Otherwise, you're going to hate it.
Yeah.
Like, but it's incredible. So, yeah. And it's like, but you have to like, especially if you know a person and you know what they're like used to and stuff, you're like, oh, is this going to be their thing? I have to like convince them that to look at it this way so it would be appropriate for them and that they would like be like, oh, I get it if I look at it this way. And it's like, just let them experience it. Like, but also you like, I want you to love this. Like, I want this so bad. Which that's the thing with me too, where I get really like I love certain movies. And of course, when I was younger, I'd be like, if you don't fucking like it, you're a fucking idiot. But like now I'm like, okay, I love this movie, but for reasons that are like for me. I was like, if you watch it, you're gonna have a different experience, and I need to understand that. And I would say to talk to you about this and like get you prepared for it. I think it's gonna help you in a way that it may like it didn't really. I wish I had someone do for me when I first watched it in a way. Like I wish someone prepared me. So it does become like you become like defensive and stuff like that. And I've been trying to let go of that a little bit and just be like, it's your experience, enjoy, but also look at it this way. So
well, you've matured because I'm still like, oh, you didn't like that? We can't be friends.
I don't need to know you. I feel like even like because oh God, when I had to take you to Andrei Rublev, which I love so much, but I also have an understanding of like when you went, because the first time I tried watching it, I got through an hour of it and I was like, I don't want to fucking watch this shit. I was like, I am not into this. And it became more clear as I got older that it's like, there is a certain, I feel like for certain movies, each person's going to approach it in a different way, depending also where they are in their life and what they like and what appeals to them. And like this stuff didn't appeal to me at one time. And then like later on, I was in a place where I was like, oh, this is something that I'm more open to and ideas that I find interesting now. But back then, probably no. And there's stuff that I probably would have liked back then that I watch now. And I'm like, fuck, I wish I would have watched this when I was like 20. I would have really enjoyed this.
Bill and Ted.
When I was 4, maybe. I don't know. I could like I watched that because your roommate Tom had like loved it and stuff, and I was like, I guess nostalgia. The It miniseries scared the shit out of me when I was younger, and now looking at it, I'll try to show people and they're like, this is just a really shitty TV movie, and I'm like, no, it's traumatizing. I literally could not go to the bathroom by myself. I could not shower by myself, could not be in a room by myself till like I was 27. Like I was just like, I literally had nightmares about it forever because I still had my own attachment to it.
Yeah.
Until I read the book. When I read the book, it all went away. And I don't know why that is, but when I read the book, it kind of like closed this chapter in my life where I was like, it's something that I needed to approach, I guess, in a way that I hadn't before. And it became the fictional idea of it set in my mind more and being like, oh, it's Tim Curry. There's no fucking clown alien entity that's gonna try to eat me. That's fucking stupid. But like with you, are there like movies that scared you when you were younger that like
my mom was like hated scary movies. She like didn't really let me watch them, so I didn't watch any until I was older.
Well, when you were younger, was there like anything that was like remotely scary in a way that you were just like, I can't do this, like even if it was like a kid movie or something?
The Strangers really freaked me out because
that's a horror movie.
Home invasion. Well, no, I just mean like there weren't any that were like, I didn't watch any of the classic ones.
Okay.
Like I hadn't seen Halloween, Chucky,
yeah,
Jason, Scream. You showed me Scream when I was like 20 something. Like
yeah,
I hadn't seen any of those. The only one I had watched was the strangers, and it's literally just like home invasion. Like it's like that freaked me out just because I was like, oh, someone's gonna come in here. All right.
Yeah, I refuse to watch the sequel just because the movie, it's those kind of things, like I guess I had more of a stomach for when I was younger because I was like, I want to see fucked up shit. But now that I'm older, I'm just like scared of everything. I don't trust the world. I'm in my house all the time, so then like when I watch The Strangers, I'm like, someone's gonna fucking bust in and kill me. So like I don't want to watch that anymore because I'm like, I get it, I can't, because it makes me uncomfortable and I want to sleep tonight. That's why like
it's much easier to watch like, you know, the doll that's possessed that comes at
yeah,
because that's
it's stupid.
there's a slim chance.
Annabelle.
Yeah. But like literally someone like, you know, knocking on your door and then knifing you is like, that's going to happen.
That could happen and does happen all the time. So yeah.
But I really like Midsummer. Midsummer is probably my favorite horror movie. I love that movie so much.
So well, and that's a thing where it's like, even though there's like some like elements to it that are like kind of wacky, it's still like there are cults out there and people do shit like that. It's like it's something that happens where it's just like it is like closer to reality, where it's like this is like close enough to just make me a little uncomfortable, where I'm like, this is not completely far-fetched. Like this isn't some like zombie that comes back with a machete from the lake and kills you.
There's like no silliness. Like
Betty, who I saw walking down the street, who, you know, has someone's lungs on a fucking contraption in her apartment. Like I don't like honestly, Midsummer, that one scene was like the most traumatizing for me, where I don't really remember exactly what it was, but the person's like chest or back was open and he saw like, I was like, that was what did it for me, where I was like, no. I was like, I can't, that makes me uncomfortable. The fact that someone is just living in, you know, pain is horrifying. A scary movie that kind of fucked me up more recently, because I don't really get scared by stuff unless they're like dramas about like, you know, home invasions or like real shit like that. But It Follows creeped me out. Not like it's something I don't take with me, like I don't carry like a fear with me of it, but like when I first watched it, that dude coming from the hallway out of the dark, who's like tall as shit, would not have expected him, because I think most of the time it was like at the beginning it was like an old lady or something, and then you just see this big giant man come from the shadows behind this like girl who's just like, hey, what's going on? That I was like, ah! Like, literally was like, run, like, because it also was like in a house, just like they're hanging out, like the sisters, and like one of them's, you know, freaking out and thinks something's after her and no one else can see it. The fact that you can't see it, you don't know when it comes, the like ideas behind things were I think the ideas in general were the things that were scary to me, where it's like you just don't know when it's going to happen. You just have to kind of be on your guard, can't sleep, can't do anything. It's scary. Is there anything else you want to say about Magnolia, or is there any like specific moments that, you know, that you carry on with you, stuff that impressed you maybe this time that you...
The whole thing impresses me. Someone said, so I was talking to someone about it, and they were like, I haven't seen it, but I saw a scene in film class, and I think it was a big part. And of course, it's probably the frogs. But I was
like, it better fucking not be. That's
big parts.
Yeah,
it's all so important, and
every part is the main part.
I was like, it's probably that. Which also, yeah, why did the teacher say like, let me ruin one of the greatest?
It's 3 hours. Y'all don't have to watch it.
Let me tell you, there's one movie that has such a shocking scene. You don't see it coming at all. You won't expect it. Here it is.
You know what I found out? I was just reading about it. You know how the boy who knows like what happened when the cop shows up and he like does the little rap and he's like, that's who the killer is, and you didn't even listen to me, and he's like, okay, kid, and goes away. I found out, you know when he loses his gun and gets shot at and stuff by that person he sees like running away, apparently there was more scenes involved where that whole storyline was much bigger, so they kind of just I guess shaved it down to a place where they just kind of focus more on like the cop. Like I think the movie could have been even longer, because that was a story, because we don't ever find out like who the person was, except that John C. Reilly sees them running off. But it's also, you don't even connect that person to the murder, because it's just a random person he sees like looking suspicious running away. So it's like, but apparently they are connected to the murder from the beginning of the thing. They just left out all of the stuff that kind of goes about that.
Because I also did want, it's unnecessary. I see why they took it away, but I did kind of want it to be like a storyline where the little kid is on the roof or something, and that's why it falls from the sky. It is kind of like it falling from the sky is fine. Like I've never been like, what, you know, but I have always thought in like the back of my head, like I wish there was like an actual scene where like the little kid has it over here or something, and that's why it ends up in front of him. It's like kind of just like, ooh, mysterious, the gun falls, which is fine also, but like it does feel like that story was missing something. It should have been 4 hours.
Yeah, because I know, I was like, you could have just made it longer. I don't care. Like, or turn it into a fucking mini series if you need to. I want to see what's going on.
And I'll play the interviewer.
You just want it to be done again. Well, we can write him in a little bit and be like, hey, have you thought about redoing your movie?
This is obviously going to go viral, so he'll see it and he'll.
Oh yeah, I'm going to send it to him directly. And you know, he's married to Maya Rudolph, right?
Oh, did I know that? I have such a bad memory. I was like, what?
Actually, I knew that. Yeah.
Weird.
I know. I like saw that and I was like, because I know people have like said like some weird things about Paul Thomas Anderson before, or that he's a kind of a jackass or something. I don't want to go on record saying that. I just think I read that, which I get things mixed up all the time. So maybe he has a heart of gold, but clearly if Maya Rudolph is with him, then, you know, something's going right, because she's great. So yeah. But yeah, that storyline was kind of tossed, which is weird, which it makes sense, because even if you file it down, the boy was still part of the story because he calls the police for Julianne Moore when she's drugged out.
I would love some more scenes from the woman. I don't even know no loud.
Yeah. The star of the whole thing. She's
in the miniseries, needs her own episode.
Yeah, I know, exactly. I was like, I love her. And they only show like, I think the last thing you see of her is like her mugshot or whatever. And I'm just like, let's follow her. What's she doing? I was like, connect her somehow more. I want to see what's happening. Yeah, I was like, she was wonderful.
I love her.
Everyone's so good in it. It's just weird. I just like, it's so great, because there's like not a moment where I'm like, oh God, this person. And just like one last thing, the Tom Cruise part where he's getting interviewed, when she's, and you know what? It's so weird. The first time I watched it, I couldn't see how like underhanded like her comments were. It like everything she says, where she like has this like air about her where she's like, I'm about to interview this fucking jackass, and I have to kind of like stroke his ego for a bit to make it like, to kind of get her way in a way where she's like, haha, and just kind of has this, she doesn't do too much. You can tell she's just like, okay, great, that's awesome. Then she's like, where's your fucking mom, asshole? Like kind of like comes out, and it's like, and he's so surprised by it too, because he thinks he's like, you know, tamed her and like has her like in his spell, and she's like, no, you asshole, you're a fucking idiot.
Maybe
I see right through you. Yeah, it's like everyone sees right through you except for your shitty male fucking crowd of jackasses. Yeah. And it's so great where she corners him, and he's so great in a way where he's like, you don't really see him like completely losing it. You don't see any like quiver. He's just kind of like dead staring at her, just like, and then you just kind of see him like, well, blah, blah, blah. And just like, you can see inside, he's like, I want to fucking kill you. And she's just like, try it. And he gets up and like tries to like hurt her at one point, and it's just like, and it's like, but she's like so prepared for it. She's like, I got this on camera, fuck you, try it. And it's such a great fucking moment. And then he like, that she's finally been like, I have power over you, asshole, and you do not get it. And it's just like the fucking best moment for me. I love it.
One, I was gonna say maybe she's read Seduce and Destroy. Maybe she like actually, because one of the lessons is like pretend like you are nice and caring, and that's literally what she does. So I think that's a fun little thing.
She used it against him, you know?
Yeah. And then
I'm doing what you do.
Yeah, exactly. Two is that scene is perfect to rewatch, because the first time you really are on the ride and you're like, oh wait, what? Yeah. But the second time you can like feel all of it because you already know, and you're just like,
it's so great. I love it.
Yeah, it's so good.
So we are going to be talking about The Woman Who Ran today by Sang-soo. But before that, I'd like to know, what are some fun things you've been watching? Something interesting? Anything exciting?
I actually haven't been watching a lot of movies.
Or shows, anything that you've been
Handmaid's
into.
Tale. Been doing the Handmaid's Tale, and it's
is it over yet? Like, is it the season?
I think the season's over. I'm like 2 episodes behind. I like to I like to get a couple episodes behind so that I can really just dive in.
Hold on.
A couple hours of it.
Oh yeah, you like to binge it.
Yeah, I like to binge it. I don't want to be depressed for just 1 hour.
The whole day, maybe the week. I guess recently I watched Summer of Soul last night, which is on Hulu. It's also in theaters if you want to go see it in theaters, which I think would be kind of cool. It's fantastic. It's basically about the Black Woodstock that happened in like 1969 or 70. And the footage from it has been like in a basement for years, and they finally brought it out because no one wanted to fucking see it because white America. And they finally got it all together, and it's so much fun, especially because the people, like the talent they got for it is just amazing. And I watched it last night and it was just like in my bed, like having the fucking greatest time. It was so much fun. And I also watched Jackie Chan movies recently, where I was just like, I want to watch some fun stuff. I was like, I haven't seen any like Jackie Chan movies since I was a kid. So I watched Police Story and Police Story 2. And like the fighting choreography was just fucking great. They're absurd little movies, but highly entertaining, super fun. They're on the Criterion channel if you want to watch them. But yeah, let's get to the movie, The Woman Who Ran, which is by Sang-soo, who is a South Korean director who makes movies all the time. He sometimes releases like 2 to 3 a year, which he's actually doing this year. The Woman Who Ran premiered last year at the Berlin Film Festival, and kind of made its round to, I made it around on some of the online film festivals, which is how I originally saw it. And now it's being released in theaters July 9th at Film at Lincoln Center. If you're around it in New York, it's going to be playing there. And he also has another movie called Introduction coming out, and another one that he just brought up. I can't remember what it's called, but 3 coming out this year, which I think is just insane. Well, it is about a woman who hasn't been away from her husband in a few years, actually since they've been together, and she goes to visit some old friends that she hasn't seen in a long time. So she meets up with 3 of her friends, and it kind of goes by each little moment with the friend and how, you know, their lives are going since they've seen each other last. And you start to wonder, like, why did she come back? Was there a certain reason? And you kind of find out towards the end that there's possibly something that could have happened that initially made her want to come back. And it starts to unfold as it goes along. And by the like final friend, you start thinking, oh, did she come back to actually see her friends, or kind of tie up some loose ends with something else that was kind of happening with her? And you start to understand that like her place in life that she may not be, I guess, the happiest in. She starts realizing that maybe these other friends that she thought might be leading these very successful, exciting lives are just kind of in the same place she is. And it's kind of interesting to see her go through that. But I've seen this twice. I loved it. I was not I watched one Hong Sang-soo film before seeing this, and I was like, I don't really get it. I enjoyed it. It was a Woman on the Beach, Hotel by the River. Woman on the Beach is another film of his. Hotel by the River, which came out a few years ago, and I remember watching that and was just like, okay, it was fine. It was just kind of people hanging out talking. Then I realized that these are kind of like, this is what he does. Like, this is what his films are. And when I saw Woman Who Ran, I was like, oh, okay, now I'm more prepared, and I fucking loved this. So then I became obsessed with him and got all of his movies that I could. I accidentally got another copy of Yourself and Yours on Blu-ray, and I think the first person who comments that they want it, I'll send it to you. So fun little prize. But anyways, how was your experience with it?
I loved it. I really liked it.
Yeah.
I was actually glad you gave me a heads up, because you know me, I'm always like, what's the twist? What's gonna happen? And yeah. I was like, okay, I understand that I'm just gonna be watching, you know, these conversations. So I was really glad you gave me a heads up because I don't think I would have enjoyed it as much if I didn't know, if I was waiting for the ball to drop. Is this kind of gay?
The film?
Queer? Is it? Yes.
The film.
The film.
See, I was gonna ask you the same question about the first person she meets up with.
That's her girlfriend.
I thought so too.
Ain't she grilling? No.
I know. Just stereotypes. Her pants. Did you see her pants?
She's protecting cats. That is a lesbian woman.
Yes, I know. I was like, they have to. Well, because didn't she, the friend that she actually meets up with, didn't she say that she had like recently separated from her previous like relationship? And I was like, this is her roommate.
And she got a lot of money from the divorce. So does she need a roommate?
I know exactly. I'm like, I was like, I don't know why she would kind of go, and like the place where she is, it's kind of like this it feels like this communal kind of thing, because they also have like the garden in the back, and they all kind of like run in with each other, and then the person who gets pissed that they're feeding the cats, which is my favorite scene, where they're just like, oh yeah, we feed the cats, and they're like, yeah, we don't like them, we just moved in, and she's like, oh yeah, that's too bad. What do you want? I'm not gonna stop feeding them.
It's like not a single, she doesn't.
And then like the other friend, and then like the roommate comes out too, and they're all just sitting there like, oh yeah, well no. And then it's so no one ever gets like to a point where they're like, oh well, you need to do this. It's very like underhanded, kind of just like, well, I guess I'll have to find if there's a community place I can talk about this problem and stuff. And they're like, yeah, well, have a good day. And then it's like, well, these are creatures, so they need to eat too. So I'm sorry your wife has an issue. I'm not gonna stop.
Like, I don't see what we can do about that.
Yeah, where do we go from here? I don't. Should I go inside? Yeah, and that whole moment I love, and then at the very end they just like zoom on the cat, just like in the corner, like, and I was like, I loved it. And I'm not a cat person, but I was still like, oh, I would feed the cats too. I'd feel bad. But I love that. But I literally wrote that down. Like, are they together? I was like, because it doesn't seem like it's something that really kind of was on the nose, but there was kind of a weird thing where I was like, I don't know what's happening, and I'm very curious, but I just thought it was really fun. And I thought it was interesting because the character Kim Min-hee who plays, she's the woman who ran, she ends up like kind of in a way like eavesdropping on all of these situations that happen away from her. Like in the first time she sees her friend like in the back, like she sees them on the like little monitor in the house or the apartment, and sees her friend talking to this neighbor who apparently I guess lost her mom, like her mom ran away, and you see them kind of have some weird like relationship that she doesn't really know how deep their relationship is, but she's like watching it on like the monitor and kind of sees that there's like, these people have their own issues that they're going through, and their lives are in different places as well. So she's not getting all of the information in a way, like everybody kind of has their secrets. The second friend, who is the woman who is like, she funds like dance shows and stuff like that, and she's like sleeping with the guy upstairs, I think, and she has like
same bar, and then they started walking and walked
they live in the same building, and she's like, fuck. And then there's like the other, and she like, but she kind of, she like likes him, but she accidentally, like, she slept with another guy who's like a poet, and he comes there and like is like bothering her, and she's like, go away, like I don't want you here, you're gonna mess up what I got with the guy upstairs.
Yeah. Can we talk about that? My favorite thing is that so she has all these conversations with these women, and the men just kind of interrupt. And I love that it's filmed with only their back, because it literally feels like we're watching, we're like in a theater, and then they're just like, hello, like it's just the back of their head, like, hello, why are you here? Like it's just like an absurd, like blah 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 blah. Yeah. Like, get out of here. Like
it's like all these men are the issues in their fucking lives too. And, and it's like, it's interesting because she, you know, she kind of, whether this is like the reason why she came back, she has that that thing at the end where she meets up with the guy that clearly there was something between them in the past. And it also involved the woman that she meets up with at the end, where I guess maybe they had like a really intense friendship beforehand, and then clearly this guy that she had a thing for chose her instead, and it's been, you know, weird ever since. He's like the only person where there's like a moment where you kind of see him, but even so, yeah, like the side, and he's still like just kind of, and it's her confronting him in a way, but it's not so direct. But going back to the middle friend that she meets, I loved how she's also like by the door listening to this thing where this guy's like, please love me, I love you, and she's just like, go away, or no, I don't want to do that. And it's and it's just interesting because she's constantly like, you know, hears that there's like other drama going on, but it's stuff that these people are not actually talking about, which she's also not talking about her own drama. And it's like, what kind of, and then until you start to kind of find out at the end where when she meets up with the third friend, who is the woman who is now with the person she had a thing with, who is an author, which I'm guessing she knew that he was going to be having that talk at the theater, and that's why she showed up, where she's like, well, now I know where he's going to be. I'm going to go see, kind of test the waters and see, is this relationship happening? Is this something I could go back to, or can I, you know, slap this fucker in the face? Like, you don't really know where she's going with it until like the end, when she, you know, has that moment with the woman, and there's like this apology kind of where they just kind of make up a bit. But I'm also wondering, did they have a thing together, the two women?
This is a lesbian film.
I know.
I told you this morning, I was like, I'm gonna be a little late because I'm rewatching.
Yeah. No, I totally get that.
I often, like, sometimes I'm just watching something and I'll see these two women look at each other and I'm like,
they're about to fuck. Yes. Oh, I do the same thing. I'm like, where's the gay? I need to there's something in here, please.
I'll like look online and there's like nothing, and I'm like, okay, so I just put that on them.
That's because you have to start it. You have to be like, did anybody else? Yeah, and this is what we're gonna do with this movie, and Sang-soo is gonna be like, no. What? No, but
you took my film.
Well, it's weird because I've seen a lot of his movies now, and there's one moment, and it's on the beach at night alone, which I will say this movie, Min-hee, who's in The Woman Who Ran, who's the lead, she's in, and he uses actually a lot of the people in The Woman Who Ran are in a bunch of his other films. Like he kind of works with the same people all the time, but especially Kim Min-hee, who he has a relationship with. And he's married to someone else, because in South Korea, like, you apparently like need to have like come to an agreement about, I guess, separating, and the wife has not agreed to it, so she has kind of has Sang-soo stuck in this marriage for years, and he can't get out of it. So he can't, even though he and Kim Min-hee are in love with each other, and, you know, he cheated on his wife with her, and she got like ostracized by a lot of the like film community apparently in South Korea, and they made a movie kind of about like her like kind of pain with dealing with that.
Like, the thing I just saw was crazy. It is true.
Yeah, and I watched it and I was like, I don't really know what's going on, and then I immediately like read the back, and it was like, oh, it's based on like the fucking nuts drama that they're involved with in their real life. And I was like, what? So now I wanted to go back and watch it. But there's a moment in that movie where she ends up like making out with this woman. And it's like at like a dinner table with a bunch of people where they're just, because they're all drinking, and she's like drinking. I'm like, ah. And she's like, and there's like a moment where she kisses her, and I was like, because I've been like waiting for some like queer shit to happen in any of his movies. And I think there might have been some other moments from other films, but that one was like overt. Like, she literally was like kissing the woman. I was like, yes, because I'm obsessed with her now, and I love Sang-soo. I also have a huge fucking crush on him. But like, it's every movie that I've seen of his that it's literally like kind of sitting down with a cup of coffee and just like enjoying it. There's no like harsh, like intense drama. Usually it's like, it's just kind of like a breezy afternoon. Like, breezy. Like, it's just like, I love it. And
I'm sorry, what is it like?
Breezy. You get it. And that's what each one feels like for me. Even though there's like drama, it's never, there are moments that there's like kind of intense drama, which I will say, you would love this. The Day After, it was the one where I thought had like the most I guess more of a like dramatic plot, where it's like there's like big moments of like, because one of the girls gets like her ass kicked because this woman thinks she's like cheating and stuff. It's a whole thing. But yeah, I love everything that he's done. And even with like The Woman Who Ran, even after seeing all these movies, The Woman Who Ran is still my favorite. And I think it's because it was when like the light bulb went off, where I was like, I love this. I love his approach. This solidified for it. And then every time I'd see a movie, I was like, I loved it. I thought it was great. Every movie, it ended and I was like, huh, I just feel so good. Like, it just like, and they're all like less than 2 hours. Some of them are like 80 minutes. And they're like quick, like breezy movies. So but yes, going back to Woman Who Ran, the third woman she meets up with is the woman who is now with the person she had a thing with, which is great because you don't really know all the details, and I love that. You kind of are like, oh shit, what's gonna happen? And when she goes and watches a movie, which like at the theater, which he's done in a few movies, where I think there's 3 of them. And even in like On the Beach at Night Alone, there's a movie with like Kim Min-hee in the theater, which there's like 3 movies of that, of her just sitting in a movie theater, which I love. And she ends up going outside and he's smoking a cigarette, and she's like, oh, hi. Like, and it's like a weird run-in where she was like, I think she had kind of almost come to terms of like, I don't really want to see him. And then she accidentally saw him and was like,
yeah, she goes back inside, which is great. She like walks out and then she like turns and she's like,
yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh, weird seeing you here. And then he's just like, why are you here? And she's like, you need to stop smoking. Like, just like trying to change the subject. And then she like directly, you can see that she wants to say so much. And she ends up like, because she has that conversation with the friend right beforehand, who's with him now. And she's like, he just talks too much. And he's like, I'm starting to notice all his like weird things that bother me, which happens in a relationship where you're like, there's like certain things that kind of come out more and it just kind of seems false. And I think Kim Min-hee's character was like finally like, oh, so this isn't like the most perfect person I was like supposed to be with. There's issues with this person, and everybody has issues in their relationship. And this person I've had on a pedestal for so long is actually kind of a jackass. And she kind of like, I feel like that's like, she comes to terms with that, having that conversation with her friend before like finally going out there. And then she's like, well, you talk too much. And fuck you. Like, it's like this like really great moment, but it's nothing like super direct and mean. It's just like she kind of like tosses it off to the side, where you see her want to kind of like explode in a way with like these feelings, but she's just like kind of, I guess, takes control and kind of feels that control come over her, which I love. And I just thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, I also love the part where it's like he says the same thing in all his interviews. It's so like disingenuous, it's not sincere. And then she says that same thing for the 3rd time, the exact same way, and you're like, girl.
Yeah, like, that's what I love too, where that's what happens, like with all her, every interaction she had, it was like she said the same thing. And it's like, well, it's a thing where it's like, is this me being like inauthentic, or is this something that like it's an interesting idea to play with, of like, what's happening in my life? Is it just like so boring that I just kind of like keep these little footnotes to give out to other people, and it's not really enjoying these like experiences with these people, but it's almost like just sharing a write-up of yourself, like the best parts of yourself, in a way, or it's just an interesting concept, I guess. And then when the friend like kind of calls it out, it's just interesting too, because I think she's like, oh God, I've been doing that same thing and he does that. And it's like, I think maybe she's almost like mad at herself by the end as well. Like, why did I come here? And why am I doing this? And then like, it's just, I don't know, fascinating.
Because she does say the same thing about her husband every time. I know the second person gets a little more information with the like, are you in love with him? And she's like, sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because she says that same thing just the 3 times, which gives us like not a lot, but because she says it 3 times, you're like, oh, I know you guys are doing horrible. like,
yeah, no, there's
not great. Good times, but you're like, oh, that's it. Like, there's no more to give, really. Like,
yeah. And that's what's so interesting, because she does bring that up with like all her friends, but all the drama that seems to be from the other friends, she gets from like eavesdropping. It's never like a direct thing really that she gets from these people. So she's like, she sees them in moments that they probably wouldn't want her to experience, and they don't really know she does, like her looking at the monitor, her behind the door listening to these conversations. But then she does get that direct kind of thing from her friend, who is clearly in a not so great marriage with this person that she had a thing with too. So it's like, it's just so fascinating, because she comes there, I think, wanting to I guess expecting these people to be in like better positions in their life, or like, and she starts to realize that everybody's kind of in the same situation. There are things that we love. There are things that are also not so great. It's not just across the board amazing, no matter how much you want it to be, or no matter how much you think it is. Like, she probably thought their relationship together was going to be this beautiful, amazing thing, since they're still together and everything's great. He's successful, she's successful. But then she gets these little things where she's like, oh, I'm seeing the cracks. And I also have these cracks in my life too. And I think I'm, being too hard on myself in a way of like with my own life, and need to start realizing that like everybody goes through their shit. And I'm actually in an okay spot. I feel like she came to terms with that at the end when she said that stuff to the guy. And then as she was walking away, and she was like, I don't really need to run away anymore, she turned back and went back in the theater. And I was just like,
the woman who did it right.
He came back. I was just like,
yeah.
She finally like had control, where she was like, I'm gonna just face it and be here. It's kind of like a weight lifted off her. She's like, I don't do it. And then she like, the final image of like the film, like looking out into the ocean too, of like this vast, indefinite kind of, I guess, future ahead of her in a way. I guess you could piece your own kind of poetic meaning behind it. But I love that, where she did turn around and she was like, I'm just going to go back into the movie theater. Fuck it. It doesn't bother me that this person's in this place. And she finally got the validation she needed, I guess. And she was just like, this is fine. And I was just like, which is kind of sad, because it's like, she doesn't like come to this point of like, my life's incredible. It's kind of like, we all go through bullshit.
Yeah. It's just like her husband is like, we need to talk. Like she's just like,
yeah, it's just like, it's fine.
She kind of finds her peace from everyone being like, we've all got shit. She's like, okay.
If you see more of his movies too, you start to like, it's so interesting, because a lot of people are like, oh, it's another Sang-soo movie. He does what he does. It's like the same kind of idea. But when you start like watching them back to like, because I watched them basically back to back, and I'd be like, I'm gonna watch another movie of his, and I'm like, oh, it's kind of the same idea. But then there's always a little something different, that his like approach becomes very strange. Like he like plays out a relationship one way, and then goes back and shows you it from the other perspective. Or he like does different scenarios that you would be like, oh, this is pretty basic, but then like ties in these like really interesting moments that are like that make you kind of approach life in a different way, which I think is just super exciting. He makes fun of like the idiocy of men all the time, and he puts himself in these characters a lot. He's someone who likes to smoke cigarettes, drink soju or whatever, and like does. And that's like in all his movies. There's just like scenes of people like hanging out, and they're all and like the underlying issues that they all have, and the men are usually idiots, and like the women are dealing with the men basically, like and
I love that.
It's so cool, and it's so interesting to see him like come to terms with his own like bullshit that he's like been involved with in the past, and he puts that in his movies, where he like kind of makes fun of himself in a way. And I'm always just like, that's great. I love that he's like not afraid to call his own self out, and even like put his own life in there. And it's sometimes like a bit self-deprecating in a way where I'm like, are you okay? But which he's not in a way, because he's stuck in this marriage with this woman who is like holding him hostage basically.
So with movies, they show certain point of view so that you can empathize and understand and everything. And I do like, I mean, I already mentioned it, that it's the back of their heads, but I do feel like he literally was like, you are not getting their perspective. Like, this is about this woman. And like, when you think about it, it is kind of like, you know, they could stop feeding the cats if that woman lives there, she pays rent and she's afraid. Like, but because you don't see this man, you don't see the emotion on his face. Same with the poet, that guy, you don't see the emotion. He might have tears in his eyes. And, you know, if the director wanted to zoom in on him and show that he's like, please, like, you know, we had this beautiful night, then we maybe would get his point of view and be like, oh, that does kind of suck. But we only get her. So it's just like, all right, stalker. Like,
yeah, I know. Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Like, you know,
well, that's why I love that there's not a ton of details. And that's why you kind of get like Kim Min-hee, her character's perspective of the situation, where it's like, she can, you know, hear and see like certain things, but she doesn't know the full story because she's not getting all that information, even from her like friends. So she's like puzzle piecing these weird dramatic bits together where she's like, well, I don't really know what's going on with that. There's something going on there. And I guess there's other issues that she maybe just doesn't want to talk about, which clearly I'm kind of doing the same thing. I didn't come here just to hang out with my girls. Like, I'm here to kind of confront this jackass who fucking fucked with me. And in the middle, I'll see some friends along the way. But you know, that could have been a thing too, where she was like, I guess subconsciously like, oh, I haven't seen these friends for a while, but then like, or like, I guess more directly been like that, and then subconsciously been like, I'm going to go see that guy. Like, he's gonna be down. So you like I love these little bits of missing information that you're like, I don't really know what this character is doing, but there are several things that they could be doing. And I love that more than getting like direct answers, where I'm like, this could go in different ways and it could change things drastically because of that. And that's why I like to have those like moments where I'm like able to make up my own kind of story behind it, because it gives it so much more to think about. Like, there are questions that are left unanswered and you can kind of do that yourself, and it leaves you in a place where I feel like the film will stay with you even more, instead of, you know, something coming out directly with answers, which used to be a big thing of mine, where I'm like, well, I don't know what fucking happened, they didn't even tell me, and I'll be like, fuck that was stupid. But then as I got older, I also started like I guess approaching it differently, and like also, you know, understanding myself a little bit more and understanding people in general a little bit more, and life in general. You know, you take your experiences and filter the film through those anytime you watch something. And I think it changes so much. And that's what's exciting, like revisiting things, even stuff that I've like loved for years, or even movies that I've hated, where I'm like, I gotta try this again and maybe something will pop out. And it's happened sometimes where I've been like, I hated it the first time I watched it. The second time I watched it, I fucking cried my eyes out. Like, you know, just like, now I understand what like, or like can somewhat grasp these ideas that these characters are going through, which I did not have those tools when I was younger. And I now have more life experience to be like, oh, well, I can understand what these feelings are. When I used to be against this character, now I'm like, I fucking feel what they're going through. So that's what's so cool to like even go back and like watch Magnolia and see like the different characters, and first being like, oh God, what the fuck's wrong with them? And now being like, oh, I know exactly what they're going through this time. And it's just it's really cool. And I think that's what's great about Hong Sang-soo's movies, because there are he presents moments that are I guess that seem like deceptively simple, where it's just like people hanging out, but then you start to realize that there are cracks in people, and people are complex, and there are different ways of going about this, and these things come from different things, and like experiences that are like emotions that are derived from like past experiences, and, you know, wants and needs, and all these different like complex human emotions and stuff. And I think it's so interesting to look at different characters like that, and just to see how they play out and how they handle situations. And I get super excited each time, because I'm just like, I gotta take in all of this. And then sometimes I end up and I'm like, I don't know what to feel, because I need to go back and like pay attention more, or like try to follow a different character and like see where these things come from. And I think that's why even that film, The Woman Who Ran, and a lot of his stuff is like, has a rewatchability thing where you pick out different things each time. And I think it's super exciting. I really hope you get to watch more too. I would say this one is probably the one that would be the most exciting, The Day After. It's I'd say it's a little bit more straightforward. I remember watching it, I was like, ooh, like it was the most I've like burst of like emotion, like being like super involved with the drama, and it's so great, and everyone's fantastic in it. And there's not one of his movies that I've been like, I didn't like that. There's been some where I've been like, okay, I still loved it, but it's like it didn't have like the punch of other things, or maybe I hated the characters so much that I was just like, I don't give a shit about you. But that's been like maybe two. The rest of them I've just been like, every time I see it. So
cool.
I don't know. But that's that. Do you want to plug your social media stuff again?
I'm Jessica.
Great.
B as in Baltimore, Ray, R-A-Y, on Instagram. Follow me, talk to me, do what you need to do.
Model, actress extraordinaire, cinephile. Yeah. Great. All right. Well, thank you so much. I'm so glad I got to have you on here. I'm sure I'll reach out and do this again with you, because this is super fun, and I am very surprised if people will be able to listen throughout our entire ramblings, but I'm excited for people to, I don't know, hopefully enjoy it. So, thanks again.
Yay.
Bye.
Bye.